Welcome back. NVIDIA. Yeah. Yeah, NVIDIA. Not bad. Not bad. Shares are looking good. Shares are looking real good. At 230 level, though, it's going to be interesting tomorrow. Yeah, this 230 level, it's going to be big. That's the big one. Right here. Previous high, previous high. We'll have to see what happens there. If it breaks through that, if we get something like this tomorrow, that could be money. That could be money tomorrow. Or this could be money as well. One of those. We'll have to see. So, what's up, guys? Welcome back. We'll get started here relatively soon because I don't really expect many people to stop by, but for you that are here, take a look at what happened today. Let's delete the 20. We won't need the 20. We're gonna need the 50 for the ES. What's up, Dushanbe? All right. Actually, you know what? Let's start on the ES. Missing my birthday for this. Oops. All right. So, S&P. Is it actually your birthday, Doc? I don't know if I believe him. I don't know if I believe him. I know him well. All right, so we knew coming in today 4,000 was a level to watch, right? We all knew that. And 4,000 held like a beast once again. Or I can't say once again, but we saw a demand level hold like a beast once again, which was right here at 4,000. Now, that's one psych level, right? 2, it's this little demand here. 3, it's this 50 SMA, which I actually missed this morning on the live stream. The 50 SMA was sitting right there all day, right? So if we go to the 5-minute chart, that yellow line down there, see this yellow line? That was the 50 SMA that we bounced off of, I guess the general area, general demand area, multiple times. So that was the first thing, right? 4,000, demand held. What do we have to see for downside to come in? We're going to need to see a really legitimate downside move under this demand. I mean, nothing. You're not going to be able to trust these little wimpy little slips intraday without getting a real downside. I mean, these are not going to get you anywhere. Trying to trade these little moves to the downside, especially on a day that was so choppy from the beginning. One thing I think that is something to understand when you see a day like we saw today, right? Let's take today's a good example, right? So you guys knew, you should have known by at least, I would say by at least 12 o'clock, and then even after FOMC minutes, that the market was very slow. Volume was very light. People were awaiting FOMC minutes. There was a very high chance that the market was just going to chop around. You could tell that by at least 12 o'clock. Maybe you realized it after 2 o'clock, after we just did a bunch of nonsense here. The likelihood of the market or of a major indice like this to actually break down and continue lower after already seeing the chop, right? It's not like the day's going to completely flip on its side, right? It's not going to go from a chop day to a flush action like this is some sexy downside to end the day. So that's something like once I see chop out there on a day, I don't try to make it something that it's not. Once I see that the market's got really low volume, demand levels are holding, or supply levels are rejecting, once I know that we're trading in a range like we did today between 40.20 and 4,000, once you realize that, I think one of the worst things you can do is try to make the day do something then it's already done, right? You have to understand that, okay, the day's choppy. We've traded in a 20-point range all day. Do I really trust any downside move at this point in the day? Probably not. So that was one thing that whenever I see that chop action, I stay away as far as I can. Because I know long-term, my odds are not in favor trading these types of days, right? I do not have odds on these days. So moving forward, if NVIDIA's earnings does anything to this market, and then also tomorrow we have GDP, right? Tomorrow morning we have GDP, 8:30. That could change everything again. So if the market, let's say the market does find some more demand off this 4,000, I could very well see a push back into 40.60. I think that makes a lot of sense. If this demand really holds, I think your next move could be into 40.60, right? A retest of this triple bottom, right? That would make sense to me. You come back, you retest, you make back this aggressive downside, retest the previous triple bottom, and then we see what happens here. But I think if this demand holds here at 4,000, which it definitely did today, if you go to the 15-minute, if this demand does not give up tomorrow, if we hold this 50 SMA, if we hold this 4,000 psych level, if the market moves higher, let's say on GDP, or if we get continuation on NVIDIA earnings, this demand can easily push this market back into 40.60 to make back this downside, retest the previous lows, and then we'll have to see what happens there. That is very possible, and something that I would prepare for tomorrow if we maintain 4,000. Now, this is difficult, right? This is not easy down here because you do not know which flush is going to stick. Today showed you that the breakdowns were very scammy. They were very difficult to trust. And any future breakdown tomorrow, right, could do this. You can maybe get a little bit lower and then do this, right? It's going to be hard to know which breakdown actually flushes. So there's really nothing we can do besides read the intraday price action to get a good read on whether that's going to continue lower. There's nothing I can say, or there's no trigger in my opinion here to make me think, okay, now we're really going to break down. Because today showed us that trading in this, anywhere in this area, was extremely difficult. So, yeah, tomorrow could be, right, there's a good chance that you miss this downside. If you're a cautious trader, if you're patient, if you are, someone that is risk adverse, there's a very good chance you miss this downside because you are not going to get, I don't think you're going to get a very clear trigger to the downside, especially after seeing this action today, unless something drastically changes. Unless GDP comes out and we just nail to the downside and we just slide all day, then maybe it'll be a little bit easier. The other option would be if we have a day that we trade under 4,000 the entire day, right? If we see something like this where we trade under 4,000 the entire day, then maybe it gets a little bit easier to trust the downside because then you could have your stop loss above 4,000. That's really what I would look out for. I would look out for something really solid under 4,000, a very strong supply rejection there, maybe an entire day trading below it, multiple hourly candles maybe, and then you can try to set up that trade. But you are not going to be able to, unless you're just going to try to time the market, you are not going to be able to short at 4,000 and not potentially get stuck in some of this choppy, right, volatility at this level. It's very high likelihood if you try to short too early here at 4,000 without a really, really strong confirmation that you're going to get stuck in this volatility. So just be careful down here. This is not an easy place to trade. I think the easier trade is the upside, right? A retest into this 40.60. The path of least resistance, in my opinion, is to the upside. Now, that doesn't mean we go up. I'm just saying that is, right? I think that's the path of least resistance back up to 40.60, and then we can maybe set up new shorts at this 40.60 level for another push to the downside, right? The market moves in these waves or whatever you want to call them. The market doesn't just flush unless something coming out that's real nasty. So, right, very similar to this. See how we uptrended in waves? I would expect this. You can make a lower low, reject, another now, right? Another downside move. Then you do this, right? If you think the market continues lower, you see something like this, right? You're not going to just do this. Very, very unlikely. Unless major economic event just crushes this market, you're not going to see, it's not going to be as easy as that. So you break down, you hold the demand, you retest 40.60. Maybe we get a supply rejection here. All right, if we start to supply reject here, maybe that's your next move to the downside. If you get that downside, you move to the 200 SMA. Maybe you get another push off the 200 SMA. You make a lower high, right? This is more likely, in my opinion, than just seeing us, continue this flush to the downside. Now, I don't know. This is just me from experience of reading price action. So you can see those wicks on the 4-hour. There's demand there. Be careful shorting into this demand, guys. I really don't think it's worth your time. Like, this is not going to be like the best trade of your career, right? If you try to short into 4,000, it's not going to be like, oh my God, I just made the best trade of my life. This is not going to be, right, the setup to give you the best trade of your life, trying to short into this 4,000 demand. Or even if you miss out on this is not the best trade or trade setup out there that you'll ever see, right? Even if you miss this 39.50, this move to 39.50, it's not that easy here. So 4,000, 39.50, all the levels are the same from this morning. Nothing has changed. We literally did nothing today. For me, overall, I think the market should trade back to 39.50. If I delete the 50, the 200 or the 100, I think the market should trade back to 39.50. I think that's where all these confluences really line up. I really don't trust this 4,000 level much. You got this uptrend here, you got this previous demand here, and you have the 200 SMA. I think the market trades back to 39.50 personally. But that doesn't mean we just go short, right? That's not what we mean. Unless we have a really high conviction that it's going to go there and we buy longer puts, but I don't get into that. I do not try to get too into that in my personal trading. I don't try to make larger predictions and take, I don't try to guess where the market's going to go. I try to play retests when they're there. I'll take some swing trades when they're there. But right here, this is not a retest. This is not a trade setup. This would be me simply convincing myself that I think the market needs to go lower, which is not a trade strategy. All right. If we were here, right, and if we saw rejections here on the daily chart, then okay, maybe I'll swing puts here because I think it's a daily chart retest, and that's a trade setup, right? Maybe I'll take some swing puts at 40.60 with the idea of it retesting and rejecting, and I have my trade setup, valid. But I'm not going to take puts here because I think, we're going to go back to 39.50. I know it. It's just not a trade setup. So I think we should move back to 39.50, but I don't see the trade setup there to take it. I would like to see this push. I would like to see this rejection, and I would love to see this flip here. That would be probably the cleanest thing that we could see on the market. 40.60, back into it, supply rejection, get these bulls trapped, roll it over, people start selling their longs, get a nice flush back in the 39.50. That would be great. And then you have a whole new game here at the 200 SMA, right? Then everything's different down here, right? Then you got 39.40 previous demand, 200 SMA, mid to long term uptrend, right? Multi-month uptrend. All three of those match up right there. You know what? Why not? Let's pull out the old fibs. That is also the 30. It's right around the 38.2. 38.2 to 50% retracement, right in that zone would also be, If we take it from the wick low, which, you know, some might say take it from the wick low. Take it from the wick low, it's the 38.2 retracement. If you take it from the candle, the body low here, right out of the lows of this body to the highs here, it's right around that 38.2 to 50% retracement. So this is where, this to me would be like the golden zone, all in here. Right in this 39.40, 39.50 area. All right, that would be my golden zone for maybe a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a bounce off that level. All right, so that's the ES. 4,000 tomorrow, that's really the watch. Let's put a line back there. Even though I really don't like anything at 4,000. Like, I don't understand. In my technical analysis, like how I trade, the 4,000 hold doesn't make sense to me, right? Because it's not, this is just, look at when I run a line through 4,000, you can't tell me that you see why 4,000's holding, right? I can't, I'm trying to convince myself why there's a reason 4,000's holding, but I think it's just a psych level at this point. Because when I look at this, right, how am I going to explain to someone that the reason ES is holding 4,000 is because the price action went up and down at this level? I would be kidding you if I said, yeah, there's a real solid demand here at 4,000. I don't see it. Right, you're just slicing through price action here. The only area that 4,000 has held previously or has any type of previous demand is right here. I will show you where it is, which is maybe the reason why it held temporarily. It's right here. That's the only reason 4,000 has any type of influence, I think, here. One, the psych level, and two, this little demand hold that happened in the middle of January. So we still have to respect it, right? We can clearly see it was respected today, so we have to respect it. 4,000, 39.50. This is my target. This is really where I think the market should come back to. And then a move back into 40.60, I think, is very possible before we get that downside move. I think it is very possible that 4,000 demand holds for a push into 40.60, and then a move back to the downside. The fibs I used are, preset fibs that I've made myself and then saved as a preset. Yes. It's pretty much just the 38.2. I'll put them down here. It's just the 38.2, the 50, the 61.8, 78.6, and then I just did them gold because this is considered your golden zone here, like between the 50 and 61.8. That's all the Forex traders out there. Yeah, bro, I'm long GBP, JPY off the golden zone. That's why I'm long. So that's the ES. NASDAQ makes a little bit more sense to me. I understand why the NASDAQ held today. Makes pretty decent sense. All right, we knew this from the pre-market today. This is not a surprise. Previous highs into support, right? I don't think that's very surprising. So previous supply turning into a short-term demand right now. That is why you held 12,075. Very easy. Makes a lot of sense. All right, that's easy to explain. It's easy to explain why the NASDAQ held here today, because you can clearly see supply, and then rejection. Or I'm sorry. Yeah, supply, and then into a new demand, right? 12,075. All right. So the next thing you're looking for here, which I would love to see, is a little push to the upside into this 12,270, right? Get that nice little juicy supply rejection, and then we trade back to the 200, right? That would be nice, right? Let's push back up into the previous lows right here. You can see right here, previous low. Let's get that push back up, maybe on some NVIDIA hopes and dreams, right? We get a little push. NVIDIA sort of pushes the market higher tomorrow, maybe. We get a little bit of a push back into 270. We start to get some longs that are chasing this upside right into supply, right? You get those longs saying, oh my God, I'm going to miss out on this upside. I can't believe it. I need to buy calls right here. And then we get that nice rejection. They start to sell their longs. They take their losses. We get short at the supply, right? And then we look for that downside move. That would be awesome. That would be such a textbook trade, right? This is textbook trade. I don't care which way the market goes. I want to look for what is the best setup. I don't care if the market goes up. I don't care if the market goes down. The best setup here that you're looking at on this screen is a push to the upside, trap the bulls, right? And then fade that thing right off the previous low. That is the best setup that I could see on this chart, right? Previous low, back into it, reject it, right? And then fade that move off that previous low that turns into a supply. That's what I'm hoping for. That would make a whole lot of sense for me. But we'll have to see and react to what the market does. I find it difficult to start taking short positions right here, right? It doesn't make sense. You're basically just hoping for it to go one way or the other. So I really don't like any trade entries, in this area. The only other trade entry I could even, consider, which I still really don't like. I was going to say you could try to look for like a break and hold below today's lows, but I still would feel uneasy shorting in this entire green zone. I really would not feel comfortable going short in this whole entire green zone. Anywhere from where we are now to the 200 SMA, I would not feel comfortable shorting into this. I would feel comfortable shorting after we got to push into the supply. I just don't really see the risk to reward of trying to fight through this zone. It's like trying to fight, trying to fight a fight that is probably against you, right? You going into war with, your $1,000 position size and the market makers with their trillions of dollars. I just don't want to fight this battle. I don't want to fight this battle to try to short into this previous supply, try to short into this previous triple top. Seems difficult. And if today showed you anything, it is difficult. Today should have told you, hey, I probably shouldn't short into this level because it was a bitch of a level today, right? This was not fun. If you were trying to short into this today, you did not have a good time. So I'm not really liking, you could try like a break and hold below today's lows. If you see something like this, you could try it. Right, but you are getting real deep into this zone. Just seems a little scammy to me. So for me, this is what I want. Right, I want this. So we'll see. So watch the demand. Right, it's just a zone. It's just a channel. 12,075 demand, 12,270, 12,300 supply. Do what the best risk to reward is, right? Trading, you are literally right in the middle. Can I get there we go. Yeah, let's do this. Let's go from 1275 to 12,270. 50% of this zone is right here, right? The exact center of this zone is right here, which is where you're trading. So this is like basically saying I have a 50-50 chance of getting this right, and at that point, you're just gambling. If you try to go long here or short here, you're just gambling. So wait for one of these levels to hit. Wait for... if we short Thursday, we need to pop out. Yeah, of course, Sam. Totally agree. If you short 40-60, I totally agree. That's a very good point, Sam, because a lot of people would not get that. And a lot of people would overstay their welcome, right? If you get this and you short here, right, and you get a juicy-ass trade off this, and if you get a move back to 4,000, you have to be taking profits here. If you're not taking profits here, you are asking for this to happen, and then you're like, what the fuck? So, yeah, I agree with you, Sam. If we get a 40-60 short, you have to be taking profits back at the demand. Just because you got your short up here doesn't mean you're going to overstay your welcome and try to battle this through 4,000. Doesn't mean it's going to break 4,000. But, yeah, definitely agree, Sam. So, 40-60, that's the supply. Love to see it hit. I'll trade the upside if I do feel confident intraday. Like, if we're getting some real strong price action, if we get a little break and retest of, like, this yesterday high, like, if we come in tomorrow and we're seeing this form, right? If I see this form tomorrow, I'll trade the upside, right? If I see this, I'll give it a shot, little shot to the upside into the supply. I'll take that shot, but I have to be really confident on a break and hold above today's highs, right? Same thing on the NASDAQ. If I see a really confident hold above today's highs on the NASDAQ, like right around this 12,180, if I see a real confident break and retest above this 12,180, see a little hold here, then I'll try the long. But we'll have to obviously get out of our longs at this supply or as we approach it. We're not going to say, yeah, I'm going to go long here. I'm going to get really confident in the long, and I'm going to forget that the supply's there, and then I'm going to hold through it, right? We can't do that. We're just trading between the levels. So we'll look for a break and retest of today's highs for that upside into supply, and then we'll look at the supply rejection at 12,270. And if we just sort of flush tomorrow into fourth, right? This could be this could be fun tomorrow. Let's draw a little scenario up. This could be exactly how this plays out tomorrow, and it could be very dangerous for some. If we come into tomorrow here in the pre-market and we tank on GDP and we open up the market right here, there is going to be so many people that open shorts at open, and then this happens, right? That is a very, very, very likely scenario tomorrow, right? I could totally see that happening. Just knowing the market, knowing what the market does, knowing how it fakes people out. We get a little push this tomorrow morning. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, we're going to tank on GDP. We tank on GDP right into demand again, right? And then market opens, boom. Everyone starts shorting it open, trying to trade it through demand, and then boom, right back up. I could see that. That's definitely something I'm going to be careful of tomorrow as well. We have to game plan these scenarios, right? Because we have to understand how the market can react at these levels. The market can react a lot of different ways at these levels, and you have to be able to understand. You got to understand like what are the possible outcomes at these levels. What are the possible fake outs that can happen at these levels? It'll help a lot, right? It will help a lot. So, not whatever not whatever we do is wrong, amen. But there's a lot of people are wrong, right? And we try to be the people that are right, but a lot of people are wrong, and that's why the market is so hard. I'm wrong. You guys are wrong. A lot of people are wrong. And you have to try to realize, right, this is a very, very big part of trading, more than you may think. You have to think about what the stupid people are doing, right? And I know it sounds very, very mean, and I sound like a dick saying that. It's supposed to be red. Anything above the current price action should be red. But we have to think about what are the chasers doing, right? What are the people that have no discipline doing? What are the people that aren't paying attention to these levels? What are they doing? And if they're wrong, that's how we make money. Someone has to be wrong for us to make money. The only way to make money in the market is to take advantage of someone else, right? It's simple. It's simple, right? If you're making money in the market, someone else is losing. So we have to think about, right? We have to think about what are people that maybe are chasing moves doing? What is the psychology in the market? Right? So we'll see. But yeah, those are all the scenarios that I would be playing out tomorrow. I would watch this demand, obviously, and the supply. All right, so that's that. ES NASDAQ. We'll do it again tomorrow morning to see where we're at. But I think the biggest takeaway, if I could wrap up what we just talked about, biggest takeaway is please trust these levels that we talk about, because if you sort of forget about them intraday, things like this happen, right? If you sort of tried to short into it here, or if you tried to go long on this breakout, right? We got to do the opposite of what our emotions is telling us. That's very true. Do the opposite of our emotions. Because I'm not going to tell you that, right? You guys, if you're in the Discord, you probably can tell, right? When we start breaking down into these levels, I'm not taking trades personally, but I am getting excited for a breakdown, right? Or when we're pushing up into these levels, I'm not going to trade along here. I know better than that by this point. But I definitely am like, oh, let's see if we can break out here. That would be awesome. Right? Can we break out here? This could be nice. Right? That's emotion, right? That's inherently the emotion of trading. When we move up to these highs, I'm like, all right, can we get this break? Let's see. Right? You get a little emotional. That doesn't mean you take a trade there, but that's you fighting against that emotion. You know it's not right to take a trade here, risk or reward, but your emotion is telling you breakout, 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 right? Or when you're trading down here, you're like, all right, come on, slip. And usually, sometimes, if it's a key level, doing the opposite of that emotion is typically the right thing. All right, Tesla. Tesla. It held that level again, man. It held that level again. So here's Tesla. Talked about that this morning. We held this 196, 197 level once again. It's going to depend on the market. It's getting pretty slow here. Tesla has obviously showed its legs, right? Tesla has shown its support. It has been very clear that Tesla does not want to move lower. We can't continue to battle that. Shorting Tesla up here is not fun. Unless you take advantage of one of these days that it just sort of dies off. But there's a lot of these days where, look at all these downside wicks that have come up in Tesla. You don't see this often. All right, so something is holding this stock up. You don't want to fight against Tesla right now. There's a wick, these wicks here, right? Look at all these. These are 1 hour candles. Look at those hourly wicks there. Hourly wicks here. Look at all these hourly wicks, right? Look at all these wicks. Wicks there, wick here, and all of these wicks are to the upside. All right, all these wicks are to the upside. So, it's very difficult out there to short Tesla. I'd be very careful. Once again, it held this previous high into demand. I really don't like a trade setup here, to be quite honest. Unless the market really shows us some juice tomorrow, then maybe we could take advantage of it. But you got to watch out for this right here, 210. That looks pretty rough up there. So I would just watch this 210 to this 197. Volume profile on what, Chef? Tesla? What do you want volume profile on? Yeah, Tesla's still, and it's still really not, it's still sort of stuck under this major level up here, right? We still haven't really tapped that 225, 230, and the 200 SMA up here. We're still sort of consolidating, definitely still in an uptrend, right? Tesla. I'm trying to think what is the best time frame. I mean, all the price action, all the volume is going to be sort of stacked up here. So a lot of volume stacked up here, right? The shelf is right here, 188, right? That would be where you could potentially take shorts. That's really the only place I would consider shorts on Tesla, is under like this 188.50. That's where the shelf sort of dies off here, and it breaks this low. Then maybe you get something right under that. That's where it gets a little bit easier. So I would look for that, but right now it's just not really showing it. Yeah, a lot of volume stacking up here in this level. You can see it there. Down here, we moved up very quickly. So if we do give up this move, right? If this move does unravel, this could be a very aggressive sell-off. Because look at how we moved up here, right? This could get aggressive if we do really lose this. But as of right now, I would not say it's not very like convincing that it's going to break down. These demand holds have really stepped up. I could really say that this whole area is demand. I would be willing to say that this whole area, this whole green area is just a pile of demand here. Look at all these wicks in this zone. Very difficult to get it through this area. So Tesla's a little bit of a beast lately. Nvidia. So tomorrow is just all about 230 on Nvidia. Pretty easy game plan on Nvidia tomorrow. I already know the game plan, all right? If we start to see rejections up here at 230, if the NASDAQ starts to reject, you might be able to fade this move. And the only way you can go long on Nvidia tomorrow, in my opinion, is either a pullback to these lows right around this 220. These are the only two long entries that I would take on Nvidia tomorrow. It would be a pullback to 220, 221, or a break and retest above 230. You either look for that, or you look for this demand hold around 220, 221. Those are really the only two long entries I would consider. What would you consider a hold in intraday? It depends on your game plan a little bit there, Ty. Like if it's a swing trade, you're going to want like a few hourly candles, maybe a few 30-minute candles, some really solid hold. Let me see if I can explain here on a stock from the past. Let me think. Like this is definitely a pretty solid hold on Tesla today. So here's the 5-minute candles on Tesla today, intraday. All right. Look at all these 5-minute candles that just sort of consolidated above this 197. This is a hold. This is a solid hold right here. Like this is a hold too on the 1 minute. Like this is pretty badass actually, this trade right here. Look at this 197. Holy shit, I missed this. Yeah, oh my God, that's a great trade. I missed this trade today. I'm already out. It's 12.50. Wasn't even by the market at this point, but that's a break and retest of the previous lows right there and that 197 level. Look at that. It's really going to depend on the trade style, Ty. Like you could trade this here for a scalp, saying that it's holding 197 with a few 1-minute candles. Or if you're looking for a swing trade, right, you're sort of looking at that 5-minute or that 15-minute. You can see these 5-minute candles just continue to wick off this zone here, right? It's really going to depend on your game plan. But if you're looking for like short-term scalps, like this is a hold to me. If you were trading intraday, if you had that 197 key level here, if you have this little flag that formed at 197, right? You see, right? Let me zoom in here so you can see this nice and clear. If you're watching this chart on the 1 minute and you're looking to day trade Tesla, right? So you have, right? This is telling. 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 And this is telling, right? Look at all those wicks off that level, right? That has to be something you're able to spot intraday. All these wicks that keep on pushing off 197, and then look at the reaction, right? Boom. So it's really, really subjective to, what kind of trade you're looking at there. So Nvidia tomorrow, we're just sort of watching the 225s to 230s, watching the supply. If you try to trade long into 230 tomorrow, there's a very good chance that this happens against you. Please do not do that, right? This is not a great area to be going long on Nvidia. I would wait for either the break and hold above 230 or the retest of this 221, 220 area. AMD, right? What did AMD do today? Break and retest, man. It did it. It did it. That was pretty sick, right? Let's look at this. This is obviously off of NVIDIA earnings, but this is definitely a watch for me tomorrow. I would rather trade AMD tomorrow than I would trade NVIDIA. Previous highs, break, hold. Look at this hold. Right, this is a good hold on a longer term for you, Ty. Right, this is another good example. If we go to the 30-minute chart on on AMD, let's go to the hourly. We'll go to the, hold on. Hourly, let me get more time here. So we had this whole zone around this like 76, 30 to 77 area. We had all these previous highs here. If we go to like the 30-minute chart, you can see AMD just did not want to give up that level today. Every attempt back like to flush these lows, we just got bought up 15-minute chart, right? We just did not break that level. And then obviously the earnings is pushing us up, NVIDIA earnings. So yeah, this is definitely a watch for me tomorrow. If we get some continuation on NVIDIA, if this is if this is your pullback retest entry for longs here, maybe back to this like downtrend. All right, if we get a move maybe back up into here and do maybe this again, this could be a great long entry here for maybe a push back into that 83, 82 area. So definitely going to be watching that one. What else? Let's just Apple held the 200. See, like this is another example of a hold. Look at this. Look at these 4-hour wicks on Apple today. This is something I really wish I took. I missed the hell out of this trade, which I'm pretty upset about, actually. I talked about the 200 SMA this morning on Apple, and I said, let's watch to see if it bounces off the 200 SMA. Previous highs, 200 SMA, this could be a great demand. I remember saying those exact words, and I just totally missed this trade. Very upsetting. If I go to the 1-minute chart, look at Apple off the 200 SMA today. I mean, geez. It could not have gotten any cleaner. 1-minute chart, you pull back to the 200, literally tap the 200 SMA, bounce off of it, come back into it again, bounce off of it, and then after this, I mean, just an absolutely perfect double bottom at the 200 SMA. And then, yeah, look at the reaction. Boom. So this is another stock that I would watch if the market does bounce, right? Apple's coming off its 200 SMA, previous retest level. This could be another nice long entry as well. Maybe for a move into the channel high. Very possible. That's another nice watch. Amazon. Yeah, Amazon's sort of holding that 93, but I don't really like the risk reward here, Tashambi. You're right in the middle of this channel, right? If Amazon was trading here, right, I would look for longs. If Amazon was trading here, I would look to play the supply rejection, but Amazon's just right in the middle of the channel. That's a tough one. That's going to be just a watch to see what the market does, really. What's Google at? Yeah, Google, look at that wick. Interesting. You might have to lower this to here. Look at that on Google. These lows at 91. All those lows at 91. What did it do at that level today? Yeah, look at that. So big slip, bounced right back off that. Buyer stepped up at that demand and then just sort of flatlined since then. But yeah, that's another nice watch. All right, let's see if Google holds that 91. Yeah, I missed that Costco move. Costco broke down. Wow. Yeah, wow, Chef, that's crazy. It just couldn't get above. It's so wild when you like have a level mapped out and then you look at it later day and you just see how well that stock respected that level. Like look at I didn't even look at Costco once today. Jeez, Costco is so thinly traded today. That is terrible. Look at these candles. Wow. Yeah, Costco was Costco even traded today? Look at these volume candles. But this level I did not touch today. Look at the rejections that continued to come in there at this 503. Yeah, Chef, that's interesting. Just watch out for these lows. Watch out for these lows. Like 496, 200 SMA also. All right. You guys got any tickers you want me to look at? Like one, maybe like, let's not blow it up. And let's, I don't know. I'm opening up a black hole here, but got any tickers you want to look at before we head out? Really, I just wanted to go over those futures. That's really going to be the key tomorrow. You can see, look at what's going on right now in the futures market. We're starting to reject this level again. 12,180. DVN. Disney. Let me write these down. Kick them out. Get Amen out of the chat. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it to Shumby. Just came for some Tableau lessons. INMD. All right. That's about. We're going to look at DVN, Disney, Meta, Shop, Etsy, and INMD. All right. DVN. Davon. What is this stock? What is this stock? Davon Energy. All right. So the reason I ask what the stock is because it's very important to know what sector a stock is in. Stock is in the energy sector, which is not the hottest right now. The XLE moved lower again today, I believe. Yep, and it's really, really close to that demand there. What did what XOM do today? XOM back at that demand. CVX. Yeah, so DVN energy sector. Let's see if I can find something here. I need a little bit more time. Doesn't look like the best stock to trade at the moment, just looking at this chart. If you think, so here's your game plan on DVN. If you think the XLE will bounce off this demand, if you believe the XLE will bounce off this demand in the 200 SMA, which is very possible, if the XLE bounces off the 200 SMA, then you would look to long DVN off this demand as well. That's your game plan, right? That's all you could do there. If the XLE bounces off the 200 SMA and this demand that's been on this chart, that should affect this energy name. This looks very similar to the XLE. They look like they trade pretty hand in hand. That's what I would look. I don't know that stock very well, so difficult for me to say. Disney, great flush under 106. The first thing that pops into my mind here, guys, is the trade's over, right? That's the first thing that pops into my mind. The good trade is over. The good trade was really just a move under these lows, right? That's like the juicy trade right there. Now you're back at the 200. Now things get a little bit questionable. You're back at these previous highs, right? All this 100, 101 area. You could maybe look for the long here. I think the short's probably over. The risk or reward would say long, right? Previous highs here. Previous high here. You would look to see if you can long it off the 200 and this 100 area. Now I want to make something clear. When I talk about risk to reward, guys, it doesn't mean that there's a difference between risk reward and probability, right? Just because something has good risk to reward doesn't mean it has high probability. So you have to make sure you consider both things. If the market's tanking, let's say the market tanks tomorrow, Disney's not going to hold that level. And yes, while the risk to reward was good, the market is going to drag this stock down. So whenever you see a stock that has good risk to reward, like let's say Disney, you're going to want to also look for the ES and the NASDAQ to show you strength, or the Dow Jones maybe in this case. So actually, I don't know if Disney's in the Dow, but just remember that, right? Disney risk reward is to the upside. What's the probability? We'll have to see what the market looks like tomorrow, but that is, right, that's what I'd look for. Meta, 170, same thing. See if 170 holds. Again, does the market push higher? If it does, Meta can push off 170. It held once again today. That's the key level. Nothing's changed there, right? Nothing's changed. You got to break 170 for shorts. You can't short into 170. And risk reward, to me, if the market's up, is not bad for Meta to the upside, right, off this 170, if it holds and if the market shows strength. But market's going to need to show some serious strength, and this 170 level is going to have to stay planted there. If you break 170, though, I think it could get pretty slippery under that if the market breaks down as well. Shop, that could be a little retest action here on Shop. You could look for this, right? Little bear flag into the retest. You could look for a little bear flag into these highs. I would look for that. 44 rejection. That would be my immediate opinion here on Shop. Look for it to trade back into 44 and reject on a little bear flag for one of these. That's what I'd look for. All right. Etsy. Yeah, it had earnings today. It's a shit show, to be quite honest, guys. I mean, I couldn't have told you with any accuracy at a single point over the last 2 months on Etsy where it was going to go. Right? It's just, maybe here I could have told you, right? You know where the best trades on Etsy were? Here and here, right? This is a long, and this was a long. Anywhere else, you're just guessing in this chop. This is just chop. No idea what's going to happen day over day in this area. INMD. INMD. Yeah, this looks like a disaster. Yeah, guys. Please look at these stocks. I don't even, help. When you see a chart like this, run. Run as far as you can run, right? Do not trade this type of chart. Run as far as you can go. This stock has been sideways since July of last year. The exact same level since July of last year. Just run. All right. What'd the Russell do today? Yeah, I guess if you're looking at dividends, sure. Amen. I agree. Russell held retest, Sam. 1888, 1887. Yeah, it's just a retest. Same shit. Same thing as everything else. All right. Supply, demand, same shit. But hold on, right? Let's look at this real quick. Previous low into a rejection. That's what I'd watch. 1905, maybe up to this 1910. Right? Previous low. Rejected today. See if it continues that rejection. All right, last one, cat. Last one, cat. That's a tough one, cat. You don't know whether that's gonna hold the. This is gonna depend on the Dow, really. See, the problem with going long at these levels before there's real confirmation is it could hold anywhere in this area. Like, it doesn't have to hold right at 240. It could hold 236, right? This entire area, all these previous highs could hold demand, right? All these previous highs could hold as demand. I would wait for maybe a few more days of confirmation of this hold, and then this could be a long if the Dow does recover, right? Break and retest, previous highs into demand. I'd watch it. All right, guys. I'm out of here. It's getting late. I'm going to go relax. Hope you have a fantastic night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We're going to do all this over again tomorrow morning. So come to the pre-market live stream tomorrow. And, yeah, have a fantastic night. And I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.